Hello, everybody. I'm Skip Alsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16mm films. And it's October, my favorite month of the year. It's already nice outside. I have the door open. The humidity is low. Pollen has not kicked in yet. So what's interesting is this next film I'm going to show you was labeled as being a confectioner's promotional film, but that's not what it is. It seemed like it is at the beginning, but I'll let you watch it and see. Enjoy.
Oh, most. We don't have any.
Okay, 4-4 on the
noises.
Joe.
I don't think so. Charlie,
Barn door down just a little bit. A little more. Okay, fine.
all right. Sound set?
Set.
Camera set.
Okay, let's roll it.
Scene.
National Confectioners Association, scene one, take one.
Action.
Well, the news is out that you're thinking of making a picture, that is. Good idea. But before you go any further, I'd like to put in a word for the company I represent. Calvin Productions Incorporated, Kansas City, Missouri. We want to produce your film. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about our qualifications for the job. We're one of the largest firms in the non-theatrical film industry. Calvin is one of the few companies in the country which offer complete facilities. We have our own laboratories for printing and color processing. Laboratories which set the standards for the industry. Through our own award-winning production department, Calvin is also a pace setter in the production of sound color films for business, industry, and education. All these complex activities are carried on under one roof, making for efficiency and coordination. In a word, teamwork. There's just no film subject too big or too small for Calvin. And we go after them wherever they are. Being located in Kansas City makes us neighbors to some of your manufacturers who are located there. And we believe in being good neighbors. Good neighbors, of course, include our clientele, and we'd put ours up against any producers in the country. Companies like Southwestern Bell Telephone, the American Automobile Association, Caterpillar Tractor, General Mills, Hallmark Cards, and the DuPont Company. Which brings up my next point. Color photography and your product. You have a very colorful product. And color is Calvin's business too. In fact, every show we do is done on color camera stock. And for Calvin artists, working with form and color is, well, you know how artists are about those things. These are some scenes they set up for a recent production for Hallmark Cards. turn them loose on something like this, and, well, if you'll pardon the expression, they'd be like kids in a candy store. I believe Calvin can do you a really great job on a film about candy. Now, about treatment. Should your film be done live or animated? Or part live and part animated, or what? Calvin has one of the best animation setups in the country. Here's a clip from a U.S. Chamber of Commerce film, which was done entirely in animation.
The Royal Firewood and Everything Else Authority decided the woodsman had to deliver wood to everybody, regardless of the cost. This even included the old witch in the heart of Dismal Swamp.
Just 2 sticks today, dearie. See you again tomorrow.
Half a Google. It doesn't pay to come all the way out here just for...
Sorry, buddy, you know the rules. You gotta haul it where we say at the price we say. How about a lift back to town, huh?
People seem to think that the only place you can get animation is Hollywood. But as I say, Calvin has a real business-like setup. Well, there is a certain amount of monkey business, but it's just part of the game. By the way, I see from your literature that you have to do with government agencies and school people and the like. Well, it just so happens that Calvin has had a going relationship with government agencies and schools for a long time. Everything from the U.S. Information Agency to the Department of Agriculture. And from Nobel Prize-winning scientists to preschool teachers and classes from coast to coast. We talk their language. Now, this is the document through which Calvin undertakes all production work. Matters of procedure are explained in it, but details like that are better discussed person to person. And one of our people will be glad to talk with you about them. In plain language, we want your business. We feel that we can give you more value for your film dollar than you can get anywhere else. The kind of film you can be proud of, and one that your customers will enjoy just as much as they enjoy your product. Because remember, when you contract with a professional outfit to get a job done, it gets done right. Right? Now, there's just one more consideration. Cost. We feel that cost...
Cut. All right. Okay. Who's the wise guy who put the caramel in with the chocolate creams? Which one of you guys did that?
Give me a caramel and call me mumbled. Very good.
Oh, well, all right. Just forget it.
That's good.
A chimpanzee behind the camera. Love it. Yeah, Calvin. So great. And we have been showing you some Calvin films from the 60s, 70s, 80s. Actually, I don't even know if Calvin existed in the 80s, but 60s and 70s definitely. And this next film is a Calvin film as well. This is You, Me, and SST. Enjoy.
This is the view from 60,000 feet, at more than twice the speed of today's jet airliners. is what we'd see up there, flying in a supersonic transport. We will be soon, you know. The question is, will it be an American SST? Will it be made in the USA? The British and French already have an SST. They call it the Concorde. And the Russians have one. Theirs, the Tu-144, flew first. I'm Bob Considine. I've got a personal interest in the SST, and I'd like to tell you about it. 10 years ago, we were just moving into the jet transport era with the Boeing 707. Some people were against it at the time. I was on the first transcontinental 707 flight from Seattle to Baltimore. I covered that historic event. I wrote about it then, and I'll write about the American SST when it goes into service. Some people are against that today. They may be overlooking quite a story. Many stories, really. For example, there's the construction story. Behind doors like these is where they'll build the American supersonic transport. So let's have a little straight talk about you and me and the SST. First of all, we Americans are good at building airplanes and the engines that power them. Because of our experience and ability, 4 out of 5 commercial planes flying in scheduled service around the world right now were built here in the USA. Our leadership in commercial aviation means a lot. To you, to me, to the whole country. That's one thing at stake with the SST. For understand this clearly, supersonic transports are going to be in service whether or not the United States builds them. The airlines of the world will buy and operate them. They must, to stay with the competition. If they buy an American model, the money stays in the family, so to speak. If they buy a foreign model, the money goes abroad, and so does leadership in aviation. We'd work hard for that leadership. Some of us feel we ought to make the effort to keep it. We Americans weren't the first to dream that one day man would fly. But the dream caught us up, and we lived it, and we made it happen. What began in its infancy with the tinkering of bicycle mechanics has grown into an industry respected around the world for its products and the advanced technology which creates those products. That technology can now produce and power the world's finest supersonic transport. It won't be just another airplane, but one that will outfly and outperform anything the competition can put up and make a handsome return on our investment doing it. Let's talk about the investment story for a minute. There are many ways to tell it. It's all about what we'll get back over and above what we spend in the development and production of the first 2 prototype models of the SST. Because of extremely high development costs, the government and you and I as taxpayers are helping to finance the project through the prototype stage. But the payoff in job benefits, for example, will begin with prototype production. Once in full swing, the SST project will provide employment for more than 50,000 aerospace workers directly associated with the program. Considering that roughly 2 support people are needed for each prime job, that means we're talking about jobs for 150,000 people. And that's just the visible surface of the iceberg. From these jobs will come tech support for necessary community services clear across the country. Vital revenues needed to make our cities better places in which to live. The incomes of those involved in the SST project will help to bolster our domestic economy. And the results of their work, the airplanes they produce, will help our foreign trade picture immensely. Because, of course, we Americans are big importers. The SST is something to balance our imports with exports, increase our foreign sales, help keep the balance of trade in our favor. One American SST sold abroad will pay for 20,000 small foreign cars, 400,000 silk suits, 10 million transistor radios. And what's the market for our SST? Well, by 1990, we expect to sell a minimum of 500 SSTs, and the potential is much higher than that. Transoceanic air lanes are opening up all around the world. Air travel and freight shipments are setting new records every month. There's nowhere to go but up. With the sale of about 300 SSTs, the federal government will recover all money it has invested in building the first 2 aircraft. And when sales reach the estimated 500 minimum, the government will have gained a return of about $1 billion in addition to the original investment of about $1.2 billion. It's conservatively predicted that over the 20-year period, 1970 to 1990, foreign sales of our supersonic transport will total about $13 billion. This is a pretty good return on an original investment of about $1.2 billion. And investment is the word. The airlines themselves have invested $60 million in the SST prototype development, and they've laid out over $22 million in the form of deposits on delivery positions for the aircraft, for a total of $82 million. There's that kind of confidence in the industry about America's ability to turn out a first-rate aircraft. That confidence is based on the record of solid performance behind all those who'll have a hand in producing our supersonic transport. At Evendale, near Cincinnati, Ohio, General Electric is manufacturing the engines that will power America's SST. These development engines are already under test. They've already proved by far the most powerful aircraft engines ever produced anywhere. Each one provides a thrust equal to the combined horsepower of more than 700 medium-sized automobile engines, and 3 to 4 times the power of current commercial aircraft engines. The advancements in materials and design that produce these engines is one factor that makes the SST possible. The list of major suppliers and subcontractors who also will be working on the SST makes this a real all-America project. In Nashville, Tennessee, Avco Corporation will fabricate part of the supersonic fuselage.
As a leading subcontractor of major airframe components for many of today's largest airliners and newest cargo transport aircraft, we at Avco look upon the SST.
On Long Island, the Fairchild-Hiller Corporation will build another section of the fuselage.
As president of the Machinists Union here at Republic, I have complete confidence in the ability of our workforce to be a major asset in the production of the SST. The tail assemblies you see here are constructed of 50% titanium, a metal which will be used in the construction of the supersonic transport.
At Dallas, Texas, the LTV Aerospace Corporation will build still another section of the fuselage.
11 months I was working for a cotton gin, and it was seasonal work. Now I'm drawing 309ers for assembler.
And in aerospace firms in Middletown, Ohio, Los Angeles, Chula Vista, Downey, and Hawthorne, California. Other major subcontractors on the SST team will be supplying a whole range of items. In fact, about 1/2 of the work on the SST will be done by subcontractors. And the result? Well, since it hasn't been built yet, I can't take you on a guided tour. But I can tell you what the SST will be like. It will carry about 300 passengers in all the comfort we've come to take for granted in modern aircraft. Soaring to altitudes of above 60,000 feet, the American SST will cruise at 1,800 miles an hour over the oceans, where sonic booms will pose no problem. Over populated areas, it will fly at subsonic speed, but even so, it will fly about 15% faster than subsonic jets. With a fixed sweep wing and conventional tail, this titanium aircraft will shrink this Earth of ours in terms of travel time to a point where no two major cities in the world will be more than half a day apart. The boundaries of our lives will be swept back as never before, as all the world becomes one neighborhood. Well, that's what's ahead of us in the supersonic era. That's the story on America's SST, and what it'll mean to you and to me and our country in the years to come. We have a history of leadership in all forms of transport, from the time of the Yankee clipper ships right up to this very day. And I suppose every great step forward has been questioned, even opposed by some people who wonder if it's worth the effort and expense. Of course it is, and for many reasons. Economic advantage, world trade benefits, national prestige. We have to maintain our leadership in aviation, and we will. That leadership is being challenged abroad, but then it's our tradition to respond to such challenges. So we'll have our SST, and the day is not too far off.
Oops. Sorry about that, everybody. I hope that we weren't yeah, sorry about that. Anyways, what I'm doing is doing some work for a local museum, digitizing a laser disc, of all things. And that was my first time, and so we were checking on the files to make sure they were okay, etc. So, sorry about that. All right, where are we? I am interested in knowing how genetics is improving plants and animals. Thank you, Cornet.
The oldest civilizations we know cultivated plants for food and raised domestic animals similar to varieties that we raise today. Yet the animals we raise today are superior in many respects. Through the science of genetics, they have been improved so that they provide more meat with better flavor. They have also been improved so that they are more resistant to disease. The many plants we raise today have also been improved. For example, these Macintosh apples have been improved so that their size has been increased. Some of the plants we have today, such as grapefruit, were not developed until modern times. Man's ability to make changes in plant and animal stocks has resulted in benefits to all of us, including an increase in our real wealth and improvements in our health. The development of better plant and animal stocks is one application of the science of genetics. Geneticists know that the characteristics of all living things, such as these fruit flies, are determined by the genes found in the chromosomes of all cells. In this photomicrograph, we see the chromosomes in the cells of a salivary gland of a fly. It is believed that the dark bands in these chromosomes contain the genes, which are transmitted from one generation to the next through the reproductive cells. Because of their knowledge of how characteristics are inherited, geneticists are able to change characteristics of living things. For example, the small brown jungle fowl is the ancestor of all chickens. By changing the characteristics of this fowl, scientists have produced many varieties of domestic chickens for better egg production or meat production. Sometimes plant and animal stocks are altered for aesthetic reasons. This dog is a result of scientific breeding to produce a pleasing appearance and form. These tulips are an example of plants developed for beauty. So improving plant and animal stocks means changing them to produce an organism with the desired inherited characteristics. To do this, 4 different techniques may be used. One technique is known as inbreeding. Another method is hybridization, or crossbreeding. A third method is selecting and developing desired mutations. Another way is to increase the number of chromosomes in the reproducing cell. Let's see how animal characteristics can be improved through inbreeding. Inbreeding is sometimes called pure line breeding. For example, this inbred herd of dairy cattle from common parents has a high rate of milk production. But several of these related cows have exceptionally high rates of milk production. By selecting only those cows that exhibit the characteristic of high milk production and inbreeding them to a bull like this one that comes from a related line of milk producers, the breeder will continue to improve the milk production of his herd. So inbreeding does increase the chance that the desired characteristic will appear in the offspring. However, inbreeding sometimes results in the development of undesirable characteristics. For example, this cow does have the characteristics of high milk production. But if it has also developed an undesirable characteristic, such as low resistance to disease, the breeder can use a second method to further improve his animal stocks. This second method is hybridization, or crossbreeding. We'll start with this Brahman bull. The Brahman is well suited to living in hot climates. But Brahman cattle are not good meat producers. Why not combine the genes from this animal that determine the characteristic of heat resistance with the genes from an animal that has the characteristic of good meat production? Shorthorn cattle, for example, are excellent meat producers, but shorthorns do not thrive in a hot climate. However, through hybridization, by crossbreeding the shorthorn and the Brahman, a hybrid is produced that has the desired characteristics of both parents, good meat production and resistance to a hot climate. This new breed, the Santa Gertrudis, is one of the notable examples of hybridization. Developed after careful selective breeding through several generations, the Santa Gertrudis today is an established breed, ideally suited to the hot climate of the southwestern United States and similar rangelands. The desired characteristics are inherited by succeeding generations. Also, hybrid offspring of this kind often grow more rapidly and mature into larger specimens than either parent. This is called hybrid vigor. Another outstanding example of hybridization was achieved in 1941 with turkeys. Specimens of the large domestic turkey were developed through generations of selective breeding to a smaller, fleshier bird called the Beltsville turkey. Corn can also be improved by hybridizing to produce desired characteristics of size, fullness of ear, and yield per acre. The many diseases that afflict corn may also be overcome by producing hybrids that are resistant to certain diseases and other afflictions. For example, these corn plants are leaning, a condition described as poor standability. To produce better standability, such plants may be crossbred with a type of dwarf corn that has a shorter, much sturdier stalk. This desired characteristic can be transmitted to the hybrid offspring, which is both tall and sturdy. In addition to the specific characteristics of a particular hybrid, hybrids often show the general characteristic of hybrid vigor, healthy, productive plants that are an improved source of food. Now let's see how an accidental change can be used to improve plant and animal stocks. For example, cattle such as these Herefords normally have horns, but sometimes a calf is born that does not have the horns found in both parents. Such an animal is called a mutant. This Hereford calf is a mutant. There are no signs of developing horns on the animal. The breeder knows that this mutation is the result of an accidental change in a gene. Since hornless cattle are easier to handle, the breeder wants to retain this characteristic. When mature, this animal will be bred with normal cattle that do have horns. The gene that causes the hornless characteristic will be transmitted to at least half of the offspring. Then the mutant offspring of succeeding generations will be inbred to produce a new line of cattle. They are called hornless or polled cattle. Mutations may also occur in plants. Fruits, for example, normally have seeds. The grapes at the left have seeds. These grapes are called seedless. That is, they have only tiny rudimentary seeds. The seedless grapes are mutants. All the grapes on this particular vine are seedless. Seedless grapes are desirable because they are easier to eat. To propagate this mutant, plant breeders usually take a stem from the vine when it is dormant. The stem or cutting of the mutant grape can be planted in soil. The young grape shoot develops into a vine with leaves and roots through vegetative reproduction. When this vine is full grown, it still has the same genes which produced the seedless grapes, and so it will continue to bear seedless grapes. Sometimes plant mutants result in another kind of improvement. Perhaps you've seen unusually large fruit, such as this Macintosh apple. The mutant apple is nearly twice the size of normal Macintosh apples. The increase in size is a result of an increase in the number of chromosomes in each cell of the larger apple. In this drawing, we see the normal number of 34 chromosomes found in each cell of the smaller apple. Here we see the chromosomes from the larger apple. There are 68 chromosomes, double the amount in each cell in the larger apple. Today, plant breeders are experimenting with certain chemicals, such as colchicine, which artificially increases the number of chromosomes in each plant cell. Here, colchicine is being placed on a young grapevine. By increasing the number of chromosomes, breeders are artificially producing larger plants and larger fruit. Here are normal-sized grapes compared with large grapes. The doubling of the chromosomes has produced the larger fruit. Certain flowers, too, such as African violets, have been increased in size by using colchicine. Another result of a change in genes is doubling in flowers. These are normal tulips with single flowers. These mutants are double tulips. Desirable characteristics in plants include not only size or beauty, but resistance to disease. These sugar beets are only one of many examples of improvement of food crops achieved through plant breeding. These beets have been improved so that their leaves are resistant to a disease called leaf spot. Notice the healthy leaves compared with this diseased leaf. So plants and animals are improved to achieve a number of different desirable characteristics. Certain size, tastier, more tender meat, better flavor, lack of seeds, larger fruits, and other characteristics. Such improvements are achieved by using 4 different techniques to change inherited characteristics. We improve both plant and animal stocks through inbreeding, by hybridization, by developing desirable mutants, and by increasing the number of chromosomes. These are the 4 principal techniques used to control inherited characteristics. As geneticists learn more about how characteristics are inherited, they will be able to achieve even more remarkable results in improving our plants and animals.
Mutant. Yeah, fascinating. So we've been doing this for quite a while, and so GMOs probably do it more efficiently, and have patented what they do. But yeah, we've been futzing around with genetics and our food for quite a while. All right. Let's see. What do we want to deal with? Let's learn more about life with baby. This is a March of Time kind of newsreel type of thing. They used to show these in theaters. This is an edited version that I think was distributed to schools and libraries. So, life with baby. Enjoy.
In the period between Pearl Harbor and V-Day, wartime marriages and boom-time incomes were responsible for a bumper crop of more than 10 million babies, almost 3 million more than these years might normally have been expected to produce. For some time to come, that most demanding of all age groups, the 1 to 5-year-olds, will inevitably claim a greatly increased share of the nation's time, attention, and money. Most American parents are thoroughly impressed with the importance of regular care as insurance for their children's health. Frequent checkups on physical growth and development by parents as well as by pediatricians are an established part of the routine of most properly cared for babies. But that the child's mind and personality also need regular checking is an idea still dramatically new to most parents. It is this idea which underlies Yale University's Clinic of Child Development, pioneer and leader in the new science of infant behavior. Here, for 35 years, a group of child specialists have been diligently at work charting the behavior patterns of children from every kind of environment in order to establish some standard of development to serve as a yardstick by which parents, teachers, and doctors may better understand the child's mental growth. After years of cooperative research and experimentation, the various progressive stages of mental growth, 34 in all in the normal child, have been identified by Dr. Arnold Gassell, founder and head of the clinic.
The mind manifests itself in patterns of behavior which take on characteristic shapes throughout infancy and childhood. We have identified the behavior patterns which may be used as standards of reference in the clinical diagnosis of child development. When you observe the work of this clinic, you will see how these diagnostic standards are applied.
For their studies, Dr. Gassell and his staff have devised a one-way vision dome which conceals from the child those who are watching him. Gassell's findings, carefully documented in pictures and in written records, reveal that in the growth of their minds and physical skills, most normal children follow a startlingly similar pattern of development. Tests of the 4-week-old infant show that he has little physical control. His hands remain clenched, and he grasps objects only by reflex action. He has not yet achieved much coordination of head and eye movements. He can fix his eyes on a moving object, but he has not yet learned how to turn his head from the side position, which is natural at this age. His exploration of the world around him begins with his eyes. Later, it will continue with eyes and hands. At 4 months, the baby can turn his head from side to side and hold it in mid-position. He can also consciously bring his hands together, a thing which would have been impossible for him at 4 weeks. At this age, the normal child is barely beginning to coordinate his eyes and hands. He fixes his eyes on objects presented to him, but he makes no move to pick them up, for this simple action involves a more complex mental process than he is yet capable of. But the child of 6 months, Dr. Gassell finds, has progressed far enough in coordination to be capable of grasping directly on sight. His grasp is still crude, but he can transfer objects from one hand to the other. His mouth is fully as important as his hands in investigating sizes, shapes, and textures. At 6 months, his vision has so progressed that he can focus his eyes on a sugar pellet. But picking it up is another matter. Even when the baby doesn't get the pellet, he benefits by the efforts he has made. At 9 months, the infant's dexterity has greatly increased. And now he can pay attention to more than one object at a time. He brings blocks together or drops one to pick up another. His behavior pattern is becoming more advanced. growing aware of the world around him as well as of those things immediately at hand. The sugar pellet problem, which was too difficult for the 6-month child, is simple for the child of 9 months. Making efficient use of thumb and forefinger, he picks the pellet up promptly. At 1 year, the child is beginning to feel out shapes and contours, but he is still too young to grasp the fact that the bottle has depth, or to think of putting the pellet inside the bottle, as he will be doing in a few months. Every child's equipment for learning includes a burning curiosity and a constantly growing ability to profit from experience. Because the 1-year-old child has not yet acquired a full sense of his own physical self, a mirror proves to be a complicated problem. That the ball in the mirror is only a reflection is a difficult idea for him to grasp. Out of Dr. Gazelle's simple tests has come a yardstick which doctors may use to help those parents who are worried at the apparent backwardness of their children. Now doctors can determine whether the child's behavior is, in fact, backward, or merely the normal inability of his age. The child of 2 who persists in putting a round peg in a square hole, for example, is not necessarily lacking in intelligence. Tests show that the normal child of 2 can fit a block into its right space under simple conditions. However, at this age, he is easily baffled by so slight a complication as reversing the test board. By the age of 3, the child is far quicker and more sure of herself in recognizing differences in form. When the board is reversed, the 3-year-old is not confused. Her mind is equal to the problem, and she takes childish delight in her success. At this age, the child is also capable of solving simple construction problems. The ability to build a bridge of blocks from a model is an important step forward. Left to herself, this normal 3-year-old builds structures which call for careful coordination of eyes and hands. Throughout the first 5 years of life, children go on developing their minds and physical skills. As school beginners, they are examined to determine their readiness for the complex task of reading. Dr. Gazelle and his associates have also discovered that the normal baby goes through more than 20 stages of bodily development before he learns to walk erect. At the age of 5 months, the child usually cannot move from the spot on which he is placed. A child a few weeks older reaches the swimming stage, but he has not learned to use his arms to make any progress. Our 6-month-old child is at the pivoting stage. Now he can move in a circle. His mind and nervous system are not yet far enough advanced to enable him to move ahead by creeping, but he is preparing his muscles for this next stage. All these and many more stages of child development have been recorded by movie cameras, and the clinic's vaults today contain miles of film. Every foot of this film has been indexed, studied, and analyzed by Dr. Gassell, his associates, and his students in order to identify the particular patterns of behavior most characteristic of each stage of development. This has involved classifying and tracing in outline the physical reactions of thousands of children to clinical tests. Against the standards thus established, Dr. Gassell and his associates can today gauge the progress and the capacity of any child brought to them. For years, the clinic has been applying the results of its study and research to family problems. Parents of the community who are worried about their children's behavior can bring them to the clinic to find out what, if anything, is wrong. Social agencies refer to the clinic children who are candidates for adoption. The clinic determines whether the child is normal and suitable to the home which is being considered. These methods of diagnosis materially reduce the risks involved in adoption. Every child develops at his own pace, a fact which amateur experts would do well to understand.
Say something for Aunt Bessie, dear.
A little slow, isn't she? Clara's little girl is talking very understandably now.
In the clinic's guidance nursery, children are given frequent tests to determine their ability to speak and ability to understand.
What is that?
What's this?
Oh, wow,
Wow, wow. What do they have in the basket?
Oh,
What is in the basket?
a flower.
Flowers? We're all finished with the book. Would you like something else, Sheila?
Okay.
What's that, Sheila?
Key.
And what's it for? Oh.
Up the door.
Open a door. That's right. And what is this?
Money.
Money. And what's it for? What do you use it for? Oh, yes. And what is this?
The ball.
And what do you do with the ball? Yes, that's all right.
A more advanced test is that of associating ideas with words rather than with pictures or objects.
And what burns?
Fire.
Fire.
You mustn't go near fire.
No, you mustn't come near fire. And what cuts?
Nice.
Nice. What cries?
People.
People. And what sleeps?
Sleepyhead.
Sleepyhead. And what scratches?
Sleepyhead.
What scratches? And now what sighs?
Birdie, 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 birdie.
During the course of ordinary play in the nursery, the children's social behavior is studied without their being aware of it. By such observation, parents, too, often find that children whose conduct has caused them worry are simply following the normal patterns of their age.
There you are. That's what I meant.
Oh, don't worry. This kind of behavior often occurs at 2.5 years. As children grow older, they use words instead of force. When the group is smaller, Mary plays perfectly well.
To society, the value of Dr. Gassell's discoveries may be far-reaching. Mental and emotional instability can be detected and treated early in life, while that which is distinctive and superior can be recognized and encouraged. Mental as well as physical health will be protected by new applications of medical science. Tomorrow's children will have an unequaled chance of growing up sound in mind and body, as more and more parents rid themselves of old worries and misconceptions.
Too often, parents, lacking in knowledge of child development, will punish their children for behavior that is entirely normal. During the child's first year of life, most parents are willing to accept his behavior as natural. Nobody punishes a baby for creeping instead of walking, but all too often they do punish him in his second year when he upsets things in the room and doesn't put them back. It is easier for a young child to pull things down than to put them up. After a little more growth, he will enjoy putting things back in their place. Parents punish the 4-year-old child for making faces at people. At this age, he is growing out in different directions and may even have a very natural urge to run away. Fortunately, parents who understand the normal stages of growth do not punish a child for behaving like this. They're better able to guide him and enjoy him because they know that many troublesome phases are simply normal and natural stages in the child's development.
The long and patient study of child behavior made by Dr. Cassell and other workers in the field has made it clear that childhood's greatest need from birth throughout the formative years is for a parental attitude of enlightened understanding. For this understanding, with love and care, will bring to healthy fruition the budding individuality of the citizen of tomorrow's world.
Well, that film kind of went all over the place. I was expecting it just to concentrate on infant life, but it turned into a childhood development film for the layman. All right. Thanks everybody for watching today. I very much appreciate your eyeballs and your contributions. I believe Nathan contributed some money back earlier. Thank you for that. You can support us by donating cash via the Super Thanks button or the Super Chat button in the YouTube chat, but you can also donate via the ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks, or you can watch films on our channel. That advertising brings us pennies, which helps us. We gather them up and then count them all out, and then we give them to the storage unit rental people. And they count out the pennies, and then it goes towards our rent, of which one storage unit place we're paying $1,000. The other one's probably in the 500 ranges, but slowly we're moving stuff out. Slowly but surely, it's going to happen. Before we go, I just wanted to say so long, and everybody have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.
So long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know you. What a long time since I've been home, and I gotta be drifting along.
I've sung this song, but I'll sing it again, of the people I've met and the places I've been. Some of the troubles that bothered my mind, and a lot of good people that I've left behind. Singing
so long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. What a long
and they kissed in that dusty old dark. They sighed and they cried and they hugged and they kissed, but instead of marriage they talked like this. Honey, so long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. What a long time since I've been home, and I gotta be drifting along.
I went to your family and I asked them for you. They all said, take her, oh take her, please do. She can't cook or sew and she won't scrub your floor. So I put on my coat, tiptoed out the door, singing,
so long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. What a long time since I've been home, and I gotta be drifting along. I went down the street to the grocery store. It was crowded with people, both rich and both poor. I asked the man how his butter was sold. He said 1 pound of butter for 2 pounds of gold. I said, so long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. What a long time since I've been home, and I gotta be drifting along.
Well, the telephone rang till it jumped off the wall. That was the preacher, he was making his call. He says, we're waiting to tie the knot. You're getting married, believe it or not. Well, the church was jammed, the church it was packed. The pews were crowded from the front to the back. 1,000 friends waited to kiss my new bride. When I was so anxious, I rushed her outside, told him, so long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya. So long, it's been good to know ya.